Hello and welcome back to the Crazy Maker Nerd. I'm Luke, the Crazy Maker Nerd. If you're a regular here, you know that I have a passion for making wargaming terrain. And today, we're diving back into it. Today we're going to be crafting a 30cm MDF tile for games such as Crusade and Warhammer 40k. You might have seen some of my previous work. I've already built up a collection of gritty industrial ruins and trench lines, which are fantastic for those close quarter, desperate fights to the death. But let's be honest, they don't always leave much room for manoeuvring. So today we're going to be tackling something a little bit different, a more open plain tile. Perfect for those grander movements and large flanking manoeuvres. The best bit, we're going to do it on a super tight budget. I'll be showing you how to use super cheap toy soldier accessories and various household items. My aim is to make this as affordable and accessible to you guys at home as possible so that you can duplicate it at home for your own wargaming terrain. Plus, I'll be trying to make this piece game agnostic. That means that I can use it for both Trench Crusade and Warhammer 40k. No little dead space marines anywhere, which are on the snowier boards. No Christian paraphernalia or other religious items like you would see in Trench Crusade. And that means that they'll be great for fighting in the far grimdark future or the desolate trenches of a grimdark alternative history. And I don't end up with so many tiles that I can't store them. Spoiler alert, I already can't store these three very easily. They're in the loft. So grab your glue and your bits box. That sounds dirty. Let's get building.
So I pulled out my 30cm base and a bag of army men. Campaign plan. Very dramatic. There is an absolute sea of rubbish in this bag, but we're going to put out the good stuff. Firstly, some pylons. They look pretty useful. And maybe a castle. What about this bridge? That can maybe go over the top. And these guys, I reckon I can cut them up and use them somehow. But which ones? Alright, I sort them out. There we go. These ones look good to me. Yeah, those ones. And then we'll get rid of the rest. Let's chop some of them up and actually kind of merge them together. Because I like the legs on that one, but I like the body on this one. They're still not quite right, so I then cut the legs separately using some snips. Now the other one's quite easy, I just need to remove the rocket launcher and the base, and there we go, it already looks like it's just laying dead on the floor. Now the next bit is, let's cut that castle to be the right angle. Of course, it can't be completely sideways, that wouldn't look right. So we hit about a 30-degree angle on either side, and yeah, much more natural, like it's sunk into the ground. Next up, bit of a pylon, not all of it, just a little bit, as if the absolute base is be sticking out of that ground. Now, of course, a bit of superglue activator can go miss here. We just spray it and slather it all over the parts, holding them all down one piece at a time. Got to be careful around things like the bridge because there aren't many contact points, so to get maximum adhesion where possible. Time to glue all those little army guys' legs together, kind of make them look like one person. And glue down the other chap up on top left. Bit of spray, 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 and they're ready. Now for something completely different. Yes, it really is bicarbonate soda, I do promise.
I think he was using cocaine because it was like there was a jar.
I got a jar of dirt, and guess what's inside it?
Yeah, it's definitely not that. Quickly I trim off the edge of the bridge and then I dust off some of the bicarb of soda, definitely bicarb of soda, and then cover it in superglue. Now when you put superglue and bicarb of soda together, it becomes this really hard substance really quickly, which is perfect for filling in large gaps really quickly with minimal time to hand. Does, however, get through a lot of superglue. You can also put some more bicarb of soda on top to get a little bit more natural contours, and it will soak on to any remaining superglue. Just like that. And that. And don't forget, you've got to tap off all of that excess that's just sitting on top. You don't want that there when it comes to the painting process. Next up, let's get the craft PVA and my special mud mixture. Don't forget to check out the other video on how I make it. And we just cover the whole thing in PVA. This time we're going to slather it on and then use a paintbrush to mix it all around, make sure all the areas are covered, followed by covering them in that lovely fake mud mixture. I only do half a part at a time so that I can make sure that I hit all those areas and the PVA doesn't quite dry before I get to the other side. Next up, I spray on some matte scenic spray and then dry it all off using definitely not my fiance's hairdryer. Sorry. Once that's all dry, take it outside, spray it with some rattle can black just to get that base coat real quick. And ta-da! Now I'm going to paint in the little guys using some Wraith Bone. Using Grey Sear, we're going to paint up that castle. Using Oak Brown, we're going to paint up the Oak Bridge, I guess. And then we're going to use some plate mail metal all over that pylon that's sticking out of the ground. Now, I'm only going to use a spray paint booth for one thing, and that's to do a very thin coat of brown all over the terrain. I'm doing this with an airbrush because I don't want to thickly put on paint, losing the detail of all of the dirt. It's also a lot easier to do a mottled effect of that brown using just one colour in the black undertone, because it naturally feathers every time you pull the trigger. Next up, we're going to go overboard and use some wildwood on top of that oak brown, just making a really dark wood effect. That's a lot of wood. Now we're going to move on to Griff Charger Grey and very quickly just coat the castle. Then we're going to use Skeleton Horde over those little guys that are sticking out, just to make them look like they're covered in non-fraction specific cloth clothing. Now we're going to use Dirty Down Rust in two ways. So first I'm going to brush some on all over the pylon, and next we're going to actually dab it out of the bottle on the corners. And then going to attack it with heat using a hairdryer so that it kind of bubbles a little bit. Now we're going to coat the entire thing in my black acrylic wash mixture. To save time, I shake the bottle a lot and then just spray it all over the piece straight out of the bottle, then brushing it into all of those nooks and crannies. Any excess is then dabbed using a piece of kitchen rail to make sure you don't get a pooling effect anywhere. Now bringing out those dry Citadel paints that are discontinued, I hope they never run out or dry up. We're going to start by coating the pylon in Necron compound just to bring out some of those high points. Then we're going to use Tyrant Skull over the little guys. Then we're going to go back over the pylon with some Rise of Rust and try and add a little bit more rust to that rusty texture. Finally, we're going to use Terror by Vallejo to dry brush all over the mud, and we're also going to go over the bridge just so it looks like someone's walked across the surface a few times, dragging it across. And just like that, we were done. The following statement was issued. Owing to some rejection, the request made by of assurances that the neutrality be respected. Ambassador has received his passport and has declared that the state of war exists. The state of war exists. The state of war exists. The state of war exists.
And just like that, a new tile of Wargaming terrain, which is game agnostic, capable of being used in Warhammer 40k or Trench Crusade, Grimdark, I got it covered. Don't forget that you can use all of these techniques on any colour. It doesn't have to be brown mud. You could do a purple floor with a bright pink highlight. You could do goblin green with a light yellow brush. As long as you have the same colour on your pieces, that is all that matters. You can tell that at the moment, the two in the middle that I've done, the latest ones for the videos, have been a little bit darker than the ones on the right. During that time I was doing a different paint and I was only going for Warhammer as well, hence it being quite Warhammer specific in those videos. Now, the interesting thing is, my plan is to do one side of the battlefield partly snow covered and one part not. I want to do a transition piece in the middle which can go a little bit of snow on the edge to nothing by the time it reaches the other side. I'd also like to do some terrain that is flat but doesn't look flat. And by that I mean puddles, craters filled with water, something a little bit more visual interest. I also wouldn't mind doing a few bits of scatter terrain to place on these to then make them game specific. But at the moment I want to focus on doing these almost historical 30cm squares to try and cover an entire wargaming table. And if you subscribe today, look at that segue, if you subscribe today you can watch me do it and you can follow along and make your own as well. I'll be doing different techniques each time. This time I did the bicarbonate soda superglue, This time I did that bicarbonate soda superglue mixture to try and build up quickly. So this piece was actually made in just one evening using a hairdryer in between. Whilst the previous one, as a few people commented, ways to speed up the process, was done over a number of days. So overall, I think I can probably knock a few of these out pretty quick. And with your help, by subscribing, liking and hitting that bell icon, I'll do them even quicker. So make sure you post below and you say exactly what you enjoyed about the video. Say what you didn't like about the video. Post any tips that you have. The more you comment, the more we get to engage and the more that I can help you out with your hobby. So, until next time, I'll see you later, my nerds. What are you still doing here? Go build some stuff.